Hey guys, Harry here. Welcome to part 1 of this playthrough video series for the continent expansion for Fantasy Map Maker. This is going to be a series in which I cover how the expansion works over the course of 4 videos, in each one completing one of the 4 maps that are going to get combined into our large continental map. So that's the idea. Fantasy Map Maker, if you're not aware, this is a regular game sheet for the game. It is a roll and write style game, so we'll be rolling dice and drawing features on our map depending on the dice results. And then at the end of the game, we'll be scoring those based on quests that we chose at the start of the game. With the continent expansion, we're doing basically the same thing, except we're doing it 4 times. So this is an expansion in the literal sense of the word, in that we're really expanding our map into across 4 different maps, and then that will get combined into one large map, hopefully a continental map. In terms of differences between the regular game and the continent expansion, if you look at the game sheet, you may notice some differences, such as there being fewer features in the feature wheel of the continent expansion, so it is missing these 6 features here, and that is simply because you will have an opportunity to add features to your maps from other sections of the map using a port landmark. So that's an additional landmark we have in the continent expansion. This game sheet here contains our scores for all 4 maps. So that's why there isn't a landmark guide like there is on the other sheets. But the port landmark lets you add features from your current map onto a previously completed map. So that is one reason why there are fewer features available. Another reason is that your maps will, when they touch the green edge, they'll actually bleed into neighboring maps. So your features will actually go a little bit further than they will in the regular game. So another reason why there are fewer features there. On that note, I should say that the green edge of the map is a part of the map that we can have features crossing into, such as forests, coastlines, mountains, and things like that. However, the red edge of the map must be ocean. And the reason being is that the red edge of the map is going to be around the entire outer edge of the 4 game sheets. And we are making a continent essentially, or perhaps more than one continent when we make our map. So that's why we're not going to cross over the red lines there. But the inner green lines we will cross over as we're going. So that's a brief overview. But the only other difference is we actually don't score the continent we don't score all 4 maps until the end, until we've completed all 4 maps. So we could keep a running total just to see how we're going, but because the scoring can change depending on later features that get added to a previous map, that we're not going to score as we go. We're just going to score at the very end once we've completed all 4 maps. I hope that makes sense. And with that in mind, I don't think we'll start with the Northwest that has the grand total section on it. We'll actually start on another sheet. Doesn't really matter, but let's go Northeast, and let's put the other game sheets away. And so you can choose to start on any game sheet with when you're playing the continent, but I think I'll end on the Northwest, and I'll put the regular game sheet away. And I think we're ready to go. Oh, I forgot one very important thing though. And that is one scoring difference with the continent as well, is not only will we score at the end, but we're also going to be pursuing main quests that cover all of the 4 maps. And these are our main quests here. I will choose 2 of them randomly in a moment, but we have to keep these in mind during each session, so each of the 4 maps. The regular quests, they're going to be just for each individual map, but the main quests are going to encompass all 4. And while I have the Northwest sheet here, I think I may as well choose 2 main quests at random. And each main quest is worth a maximum of 50 points as well. So it is worth trying to keep those in mind. And for this playthrough, I am going to be playing a solo game. So I'm going to calculate my scores at the end of the game, but also calculate the scores of our 3 AI opponents. We have the Explorer, the Artist, and the Master. So hopefully we can defeat at least 1 or 2 of these AI opponents, but they do have scaling difficulty. And I should say that each map is going to give us a maximum of 100 points. Each main quest is going to give us a maximum of 50 points. So the total maximum we could possibly get would be 500 points. But that is rather challenging, as we'll see, I think. All right, but let's choose a main quest. Chaos. Okay, that's good. I'll choose another one. Swamplands. So I'll talk about these briefly. So with Chaos, we're going to get 10 points per event that occurs twice. So event cards are going to add challenges to the game. And you can choose which events you want to put down. And that really does make sense for this quest, where you want to pick specific events. So they're going to hopefully occur twice over the course of the 4 games. However, I think I will just... I will use what is currently a variant of the game, but I actually hope to make the default form of the game once the physical edition of Fantasy Mapmaker is ready. And that is the Cataclysm variant, where we have the events stacked randomly in a deck, and then we're just going to draw them as we go. I just think that's a bit more fun, even though it will make this main quest a bit more challenging. But of course, if you want, you can choose your own main events, and you can record the numbers of each event here, so that each event has a letter, I should say, not numbers. So this is event I, for example. So you could record which events you've chosen in the circles, and then when the doubles number that applies to each event comes up, then you would add that and resolve it on your game sheet. But I'm going to live dangerously and go with the Cataclysm variant. So I have my shuffled event deck that I'll put off screen. But our second main quest is Swamplands, where we get 2 points per lake, and this includes lakes created by coastlines. So yeah, so hopefully we can create lots of lakes. So there are dedicated lake features, so we want to make sure we add high numbers for those during each session of the game. But we also want to maybe make some inland seas, because these will count towards our Swamplands quest. So that's Swamplands and that's Chaos. And next to the title here, they have a little number, so we can write down the main quest here, so we remember that we have Swamplands number 2 and Chaos number 3. But as I mentioned earlier, we're going to do the Northwest sheet later. We'll do this one at the end, so I'm just going to set that aside for now. And let's move that there. Let's put our 2 main quests here so we remember them. My event cards are off screen, but now we just play a regular game. And we're going to choose 5 quests. I'm going to choose these randomly, so I'll just shuffle each category and choose one randomly. Okay, so I have chosen 5 quests for our northeastern section of the map, and I have written the quest numbers here. And it is very important to write this for 2 reasons. One is that, well, as I mentioned earlier, we're scoring all of the maps at the very end of the game, so not after each map is completed. So we do need to record that there, just so we remember which quest we chose. And 2 is with the continent expansion, you can only do each quest once for the entire game. So I will not be able to repeat any of these quests in different game sheets. These are just going to be for the Northeast. Of course, our main quest we're looking at during the entirety of the game, so across the 4 games, but these ones are just for this Northeast sheet. Alright, so let's go through them briefly. So precipitous peaks will give us 2 points for any space that has mountains on all 4 corners. Mountain shadows will give us 4 points per space that has a landmark and a mountain, so these could be a good combo together. Land's lifeblood is going to give us 1 point per space that has a river. The capital will give us points for how many houses are in a particular space, and basically the more houses within one space the better, but that does max out at 15 houses, so there's not really any point in adding more than 15 houses to one space. And finally, our wheel quest is close the wheel. And for each wheel in which we complete all 5 features, we're going to earn 4 points. So those are our quests, and I think we are ready to go. And I am playing with events, as I mentioned, and the event deck has been shuffled and just set aside. If doubles get rolled, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, then I'll draw the top card and resolve the event as it occurs. So let's get started. Alright, 1 and 2. So we always start with our first landmark. 1 and 2. And we can place it in either of these spaces. The first column and second row, or the first row and second column. And we can choose any of these landmarks, except we can't actually choose a port yet, because ports let us place a future feature from this game sheet onto a previously completed game sheet. Because this is our first game with this Game of the Continent expansion, there would be no reason to add a port. So that's that. I think because we have the capital quest, we may as well start with the castle. I think that that would be good. So maybe we can add it here, and let's add our castle. Alrighty, so now I've added my castle, I'm going to write a C here for castle. So now we just remind ourselves that that is that. And the castle is worth 3 houses, so that's going to help our capital quest. Alright, next round. 3 and 5, so I can go here or here. I can do mountains or a road. Mountains is only going to give us 3 mountains, because I'd be choosing the 5 wedge, so that would be a 3. But on the other hand, that does get us closer to a landmark, so that could be good too. Yeah, ideally this was a higher number for the mountains, but I think it might be good to actually add some mountains just to get started with mountains straight up. So let's do that anyway, even though it is only a 3. So with mountains and forests, they are going to cross over the intersections of the grid lines, including the border, but not the red border, of course, because that has to be water. And it's going to be 3 times, and it has to be connected intersections, and at least part of them have to be in this explored space, our one explored space. So I think maybe we can choose like this one here, this one here, and this one here. And so we're going to add our mountains. Okay, so I have added 3 mountains crossing over 1, 2, 3 intersections. Now this is where our green line rule comes in, and we're actually going to extend. We have to extend our features into the neighboring map, and so we have crossed over this intersection and this intersection. So those are both going to be mountains here as well. Okay, so I've added this to our northwest section of our continent map. When I go to add stuff to this map, these spaces are actually already explored because I've added to them in this first session. So it may be a bit tricky to get your head around when you're first playing, but as you play the continent expansion, it becomes pretty intuitive. I hope anyway. But we'll put this away, and we're ready for our next round. 1 and 4. Okay, so I can choose, it's going to have to be coastline here or here. And we do need to basically delineate what is land and what is water, with the red edge being water. So I don't think we want a 1 coastline. We want a bit more coastline. We want to go 4, and let's add a coastline that is going to also connect to our northwest section of our continent map as well. Okay, so here's my coastline crossing over 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. So coastlines, roads, and rivers are going to cross over lines as opposed to mountains and forests, which are over intersections. And because this is the continent expansion, I do need to bleed into the neighboring map. When we do this, we're just going to go over a little bit into the next map. Whoa, that's quite a bit. This is a coastline. I always like to try different drawing styles in each map, so this is trying something a bit different here. Not sure if it really works, but you can always add some artistic details later to make it look a bit nicer. But anyway, this is our coastline, and it is crossing over into the northwest map. It's only going to overlap a little bit into the map. You can't, for example, if I had have used the 4 to go like 1, 2, 3, 4, that's not okay. You can only just meet the edge of the map, then go into the next neighboring map a little bit. If you do want to add more to a different map, that's when you have to use a port landmark. And again, you're going to do that to a previously completed map. So I can't actually use a port landmark in the first game of the 4 games. But let's put that back again, and let's see what is next. 3 and 6. Okay, so I can do a road or I can do a river. We are going to get points for rivers, so I think that would be good. And yeah, even though it's only going to be a 3 value river, I think it's still worth doing. So let's do that. Let's go 3. Maybe the river can cross over. So that's 1, 2, maybe 3 here. All right, here is my river crossing over 3 times. Let's see what we have next. 2 and 6. All right, so we can venture into here. We could add a 6 forest, and now that wouldn't help us much because we don't have any quests relating to forests right now, so we probably want a lower number for the forests, and we also want a higher number than 2 for the coastline. So I think it's probably best to choose a road, even though we're not going to earn many points for roads right now, because it will actually get us closer to our next landmark, and landmarks are a good way to earn points in the game. So let's choose a 2, and let's add a road that crosses over 2 lines. Okay, so I have added my road crossing over 2 lines, and I thought I'd be a bit cheeky by having it crossing over this grid line here and also the edge of the map, so it bleeds into our northwestern map a little bit, because who knows, maybe this map is going to have a quest that is going to give us points for roads, so maybe that could be helpful in the future. But also I like that there's just a road connecting these 2 areas of the map. All right, let's see what's next. 5 and 6. All right, so this we have a few good options here, because we can add another landmark. We can add 6 houses or 5 coastlines. All of those are great. I think though I really do want to make sure we've done the coastline part before anything else. So I think it's good if we go for coastlines here, because 5 is a good number for us. So let's make that a 5, and let's add a coastline crossing over 5 times. All right, so here's our coastline, and let's roll up our next round. 6 and 5 again. I did shake it. All right, now let's look at adding some houses, I think, for our capital quest, because 6 houses is pretty nice. So let's go ahead, choose a 6, 5th wedge, and add a 6 there. And let's add our 6 houses to this space here, because then that's going to get our house count up to 9, and we'll be earning 5 points for that, and then hopefully we'll get closer to that 15 points. Okay, so I've added my 6 houses here, and so now with the castle, which is worth 3 houses, we have 9 in that space. Next round. All right, double ones. All right, this is actually good because we do have our chaos event, our chaos main quest, so we want to have the multiple of the same events happening across different maps. So let's see what we get for our first event. And let me just shuffle again, just to be safe. All right, and we get, all right, the Cave of Lost Memories. So we're going to draw a cave on a mountainside or in a land area of a space if no mountains yet exist. And block any 2 features in the feature wheel. So blocking is we're just going to fill them in and we have no access to that feature on the feature wheel, which isn't too bad because there are some features such as forests which don't earn us any points anyway. And if we don't have our cave on a mountainside, we'll actually lose 5 points. So we do want to make sure we place our cave on a mountain. And the good thing is we already have mountains here, so we can easily find a spot for that. So let's draw our cave on the side of a mountain and let's block 2 features. I'm thinking maybe one of the forests, and we need rivers, maybe another road perhaps. Yeah, maybe another road, although islands aren't very useful for us either. I don't think roads are going to come in handy, so yeah, maybe we'll do a forest and islands. We'll block those off. Yeah, and again, this actually isn't such a bad event because we're going to get 4 points per completed wedge, and blocking does mean we complete one of the features, so not a bad event for us to get. I do need to say we rolled double ones, so we need to put a B here. And we're not going to skip the event. If you skip the event, you put an X here and you automatically lose 5 points. We are going to resolve the event, so we put a check mark here. And then let's put our cave maybe down here. There's our cave. And then we block 2 features. So yeah, let's choose this forest here, so you can do any 2 features. So just going to block that off like that. And actually maybe a name. We don't need so many names. Maybe over here. Block this name here as well. So those have been blocked. So now we want to hope that we also get event B again, because if we do, we'll get 10 points at the end of the game. But I'm going to put that aside, and let's see what we have in our next round. 6 and 1. 6 and 1 is pretty good because we're able to add a long river. I think that's going to be best. We could add a landmark, but I think a river would be best. So let's put the 6 here. Let's add a river that's going to cross the grid line 6 times. Okay, great. So here is our river crossing over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. And I do need to make sure that both of these rivers originate at a stream. So we do want to add streams to the end of these rivers at some point. Or we could add lakes as well. Oh, I should mention that we really do want to get a 6 to put in lakes because that's going to help our Swamplands quest. So hopefully we get another 5 and 6 in the future. All right, let's see what we have next. 3 and 4. Okay, so we could do 3 coastline. Or we could do 4 roads. Well, let's do the coastline, I think. 1, 2, yeah, let's do the coastline, so at least we've joined the coastline to the end of the map, and also the southeastern map as well. So let's do that. Let's choose a 3 here, and we'll add our coastline. Okay, so I am somewhat regretting my choice of coastline art style, but hopefully it turns out okay at the end of the game. This is a bit time consuming and looks a little strange now, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So this is crossed over 3 lines, and we're starting to now venture into our neighboring southeastern maps. So we need to make sure we put this in the right spot. Be here, and so we're going to have a little bit of coastline extending into this map here. All right, so we're branching out all over the place, and we are ready for our next round. All right, 2 and 4. So forest could be good, or we have 2 houses. I think we'll do forest at this point, because even though we're not rewarded points-wise for any of our forests, I think they just look nice on the map, and we could also potentially extend forests into our neighboring maps, because that might help on a future session, in one of either the northwest or the southeast. So maybe we could go the forest down here, or maybe up across here. Oh, either way, let's put the 4 here. And yeah, I think this could be like more of a mountainous area, because we do want to earn points. We don't have any points for this quest yet. So I think maybe we'll do the forest down here, crossing 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so here is the forest crossing 4 times, and that of course bleeds into the southeastern map. That is that done though, and we're ready for our next round. 6 and 5, nice. All right, that's what we wanted, because we want our 6 lakes. So let's do 6 here, and let's add 6 lakes. All right, maybe we can. So lakes are obviously on land, and they do need to be placed in explored spaces. So we can't add them around here because we don't have any lakes there yet. So maybe we can have a few different lakes in different areas near the rivers, and maybe near the forest as well. All right, let's go. Oh, and one other thing is you can have a lake. A river can originate at a lake, so maybe it makes sense to do a little lake in each of these spaces here, and that can be the starting point for the river. Yeah, I think that'll be good. All right, let's go. Okay, so I have added my 6 lakes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I use the lakes to be the starting point for these 2 rivers. I also added lakes to be places where the rivers flowed into and out of, although these are a little bit strange the way it's worked out. But so usually you can't just overlap features like that, but it wouldn't have affected scoring had I just put the lake next to the river. So I thought it made sense to have the rivers flow into different lakes. Maybe these are different deeper sections of valleys and stuff that have been flooded in these areas of the map here. I mean, this is the swamplands after all. That's our main quest that we're going for. So there are my 6 lakes, and we're ready for the next round. 4 and 5. 5 houses is pretty nice, I think. So we could do that, but we really do need to get some landmarks happening soon as well. But if I do a landmark, then I only have one more feature left here. So that's a bit tricky. So no, I think we'll do 5 houses. And we'll add as many as we can fit into this space here. Alright, so I've added 5 houses here. Now this is up to 14 houses with the castle, meaning we just need one more to max out the points for this particular space. Alright, next round. 1 and 5. Okay, could do houses, but I do want to add more landmarks, I think. So let's apply the 1 to the first box of this landmark. And with landmarks are placed over the course of 2 rounds, so we're going to roll again. And choose one of these numbers for the second box to give us our coordinates. Now 1 and 1 is jumping out at me because that means that we can put a landmark here and get 4 points for that quest. So I think that would be best. Yeah, I think that's best. So let's do 1 and 1. And I think I want to do a ship actually, because that will mean that usually we can only explore, we can only add features to explored spaces, but with a ship, we'll be able to add features anywhere on the map, just this map, for the rest of this northeastern session. So let's do that. Alright, so here's our ship, and now we can explore anywhere we want. Alright, let's go. 3 and 6. Alright, we really need to venture down here, I reckon. So, yeah, maybe we do 6. Or on the other hand, another landmark would be nice. Yeah, let's do another landmark. Let's do 3, but that's going to be here or here. Yeah, that's alright. So we'll do 3. And we roll again. And we got 1 and 3. So we go here, here, or here. Well, 3 and 1 would be good because that is going to mean we'll get another landmark that is in a space with mountains. So I think that's the best option. So we'll go 3 and 1. And I can see us getting into problems where we're not able to use our dice results, and we may want to skip the results. So a keep would be good. On the other hand, a temple could be good too, because that allows us to add or subtract 1. Yeah, maybe a temple. So let's add a temple to this space here. Alright, this is my temple, and I'm going to put a T here. For temple, now this is a one-time ability, so once I have used its ability to add or subtract 1 to a future roll, then I'll just put a check mark there to show that I've completed that. It's worth mentioning as well that if you haven't used an ability from a landmark by the end of the game, you cannot use it on a future game sheet. So I can't save the temple ability for the southeast game sheet, for example. Okay, all right, let's see what we have next. 4 and 5, okay. Don't want to close off our names yet, so maybe a road or islands. You know what, I think let's do islands just for a bit of fun. And that's going to be 5 islands. Yeah, now typically I wouldn't be able to add things to these unexplored sections of the map. However, we do have the ship ability, so we can add islands wherever we like. So I'll add 5 islands. Alright, so I've added my 5 islands. The only rule with islands is that they do need to be within spaces, but you can have multiple to the one space as you're going. So there we go. They don't earn us any points, but add a bit more character to the map. All right, let's see what we have next. 1 and 5. All right, so this is good. We can add 5 houses now. And we only needed 1 more, I believe, for... Yeah, we only needed 1 more for this space, because we max out at 15. So let's add 1 here. So that has 15 houses in it, and then we have 4 more to add to another space. Maybe let's go a little bit further away, and maybe we can add some down here where we don't have anything right now. Let's add the 4 down here. Alright, so we've added our 4 houses here, and again we can do that because we do have the ship ability, so we're not restricted by where we can place houses in terms of explored or unexplored spaces. Alright, next round. 2 and 4. We do need to work on our... I think I want a higher number for that though. Yeah, I do want a higher number for that. So I think we'll... Yeah, let's do a landmark instead. So let's put the 4 there. 4 and 2, so I can choose 4 and 2 here, or 4 and 2 here. Well, I think this is really the best option. So I could choose 4 and 5. I could do 4 and 5. I could go 4 and 5. No, 4 and 5 or 4. I could do either of these spaces. But I think 4 and 2 is best, because if we put it here, then in the future we can maybe put mountains in this area and then get points for our mountain shadows. Let's do that. So let's do 4 and 2. And a castle, just by way of it equaling 3 houses, is going to get 1 point. So maybe we'll do a castle again. Alright, here's our little castle, a bit less regal than our one over here, but that is going to get us points. And hopefully, we really want a 2 and a 6 on our next roll, so we're going to add a bunch of mountains here and earn points for both of these quests. Alright, let's see what we've got next. 6 and 4. Alright, okay, so now it's getting a bit trickier. I'm starting to regret the idea of adding, the fact that I added that castle. Probably should have chosen a one-time ability to give us a bit more flexibility with the dice rolls. That would have been a bit smarter, I think. Let's go with 4 names though. Yeah, let's just do 4 names. And we're going to add 4 names to any part of our map. So let me take a moment and think about what we could name different areas, and I'll apply those names now. Okay, so I've added my 4 names. I've got the Yang River, the Sinking Castle, Crab Lake, and Stony Isles over here. I was gonna name this castle town here, but I used some whiteout and it hasn't dried yet, so I'm too impatient. So we'll come back to that later. And I've completed everything in this wedge, so I can shade this circle, and that's going to give us 4 points for our wheel quest here. But let's hope that we don't roll double 6s next. Actually, double 6s would be okay, because that's going to trigger an event, but we can't add any more beyond that. 5 and 4. I feel like that's come up a bit today. Alright. Maybe now I am going to use the temple ability, and I will change the 4 to a 3. So, because I really need to get closer to this using this landmark. So let's do that, and so that'll be 5. And maybe this road can kind of snake around and connect to this village here. Yeah. Or maybe it can come from the sinking castle. Anyway, let's add the road that's crossing over 5 times. Alright, so the road is crossing over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and as such it's also going into our southeastern map at the top of there. It's worth mentioning as well that when you can cross roads over rivers and vice versa, rivers under roads. However, apart from that exception, generally you in the game you're not going to have any features that will overlap, except for a couple of small exceptions like that. Alright, let's see what we have next. 3 and 6. Okay, alright, this is good because we can do a 6 value river getting us close to that final landmark. So let's add that 6 value river somewhere. Alright, so we've added a river that connects to a previously drawn river, and this one added crossover 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have overlapped it into the southeastern map as well. Alright, let's see what we have next. 1 and 4. 1 and 4. One road closing off the 4th wedge, or 4 streams, or 4 names. I kind of want to use 4 names because I've created some space, and that whiteout is now dry, so I can name my castle town. Yeah, so let's do 4 names. Alright, so I've added 4 different names here, and we're ready for our next round. 4 and 5, that keeps coming up. Alright, now let's add another road completing the 4th wedge. Maybe this road can connect, maybe we can connect our 2 castles. We need 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. Alright, okay, so we've closed off wedge number 4 and wedge number 6. Getting close to the end. 1 and 2. Oh man, okay. I wanted 2 and 6 or something. 1, alright, well let's do 1 house. I want to do better than that. Yeah, I want to do better than that. So let's do 2 streams. And streams can be the source of rivers, or they can just branch off any other water source. So maybe we'll just do that. Maybe we'll just have a stream kind of branching off this lake here. And we can also do a stream flowing into the coastline. That's okay. So those are our 2 streams. Now I've completed wedges 1, 4, and 6. Alright, so we need a 2, 3, or 5 as part of this next roll. 1 and 6. Oh no, that was terrible. That was terrible, but that's okay. Alright, that is going to be it for this game. So we weren't able to add many features, and in fact, we really should have tried to use more one-time landmarks to allow us to better access to these mountains and houses, which we didn't get a chance to add. But that's okay, because in future games we'll be able to use port landmarks to maybe add some more mountains to this map. So although we maybe didn't score that well, or well at all for this quest, didn't score any points for that quest, we may be able to rectify that in a future session. Yeah. So let's quickly look at what we would score if we were to stop now. But again, we're going to score at the end of all 4 games. But let's see what we would score so far, just to give ourselves ballpark of how we're going. So with our geology quest, 2 points per space that has mountains on 4 corners. We don't have any of that, so that would be 0. For mountain shadows, we had 1, 2, 3 landmarks, so that would be 12. 1 point per space that has a river, that would be 1, 2, 3, 16. So we'll get 16 for that. For the capital quest, we got 15 for this space, 1 for this space, and 1 for this space, so that would be 17 points. And we closed 3 wedges, which would be 4 points each, so that would be 12. So we didn't do too badly, but again, this is not the end because we still have 3 more games to go, and that will give us more chance to add more features to our map. But that is it for this particular session. And I should point out, we only added 1 event. Only 1 event came up as part of that game, so hopefully some more events come up. And again, we will have the opportunity to recycle and use this event if we want in the future in a future game. However, we cannot use any of these quests again. But yeah, that's about it. I think the continent is a little bit of a step up from regular fantasy mapmaker, but it's really not that much more difficult in terms of the additional rules. They just add a couple of small tweaks. So that was actually why I wanted to start making this series, is to just show that the continent expansion isn't that much more of a step up from the base game. Because I do fear that the current rulebook is a little bit wordy when it comes to the description of the continent. So I'm hoping that these videos can kind of show it off in a way that isn't as daunting as maybe the rulebook makes it sound. It is worth mentioning too that these cards are for the upcoming boxed edition of the game that we are hoping to do a print run of if we can get successfully funded on Kickstarter. And as part of the boxed edition, we are going to redo the rulebook a bit and just make things a bit more easier, a bit more accessible. And the continent expansion in particular, I think we're going to try to work on to just make it a bit more user-friendly, because right now there is a lot of text in that section of the rulebook. And I think it's probably a bit daunting potentially for some people, but anyway, that will be it for today. I will come back to do part 2 in a future video. So let me know what you're thinking of this series so far. I really do want to go through all 4 parts. So let me know how you're finding it, and if there's anything in particular you want to know. Please do leave a question or a comment in the comment section, because I can address that in future videos about the continent expansion. But other than that, that will be it. Thank you for tuning into this one, and I'll catch you on the next video, maybe part 2 of the continent, or potentially another video that I put out soon. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.